My
morning.
name is Michelle Cousins, and my pronouns are she and her. And I'd like to welcome you to this online homecoming service of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. My husband and family have been attending UU Danbury since 2010. And during that time, I have served on many teams and committees. Currently, I am captain of Team 4 at Dorothy Day, and I also serve as your co-president of the Board of Trustees, along with my pal, Margaret Henderson. And I'm so glad that you're able to join us here this morning. Together in community, we can ensure that social distancing does not mean social disengagement. Our weekly services are more than just a gathering of our physical bodies. It's the forming of a sacred time that we've been making together for 199 years now, and we're building a more just world together. In that sense of sacredness, along with deep respect, we acknowledge that our physical buildings are on the traditional land of the Paugussett people. For those of you new among us, or if you're reconnecting with fonder hearts, we invite you to introduce yourself and where you're connecting from in the chat box as you're comfortable. And then after our service, we're going to invite you to stay and participate in a breakout group for individual connections and deeper check-ins. Whether you're well-versed in the technology of teleconferencing or not, we welcome you. Whatever your faith traditions of your past, whatever your theological stance, whatever your heritage, whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. You can learn more about UU Danbury on our website and Facebook page, and we encourage you to share our Facebook page and reach out to others who may feel isolated and might benefit from the spiritual connection with our loving community. I have several really important announcements today, things that are happening right after service. So the first one I want to make you aware of is that right after our service at 11:30, RE is celebrating homecoming as well. So kids and youth are invited to our UU Danbury yard for a homecoming celebration with outdoor games and sidewalk chalk and lots of other fun stuff. And we invited the Mattituck Unitarian Universalist Society in Woodbury to join us. So we hope you come and meet up with some old friends or make some new ones today. So that's an RE homecoming celebration at 11:30 at the Ridge. And then today we're also welcoming newcomers. Our Sunday Connections program is happening with Reverend Kathleen via Zoom. And what we want you to do is watch for a link after the service that you can click on and have a conversation with some members of the congregation and Reverend Kathleen and learn a bit more about what it means to be a UU and a little bit more about our congregation specifically as well. And then the board is trying something new as well. And aren't you lucky you get me today as your co-president? So what I'm going to do is not go into a breakout session for coffee hour, but I'm going to stay in the main room. So if you would like to ask me about stuff that's going on today, in our congregation, or if you just want to get to know me better, whatever you want to talk about, I'm going to stay in the main room. So when you get invited to go to a breakout room, if you'd like to stay and chat with me, then don't go into that breakout room. I'm happy to talk to you, and I can't wait to see you after the service during our coffee hour. So again, I'd like to welcome you to the UU Congregation of Danbury, where we welcome all in the spirit of compassion, inquiry, and service. And now if you would please join us for our hymn of welcome, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. And to rejoice and come in. Today will be a joyful day, and to rejoice and come in.
There are rituals and there are traditions. Rituals and traditions that call us to beloved community. This is one, being the first service of our new congregational year.
Homecoming, ingathering, opening Sunday. As a people in exile from our sacred space, in exile from a lot of the world that we've always known, these are strange words.
Homecoming, ingathering, opening Sunday, but they call us nonetheless.
And so we ingather. We gather in service, hope, and strength.
We come home to ourselves, to our people, to our faith.
We open our hearts this Sunday to surprise and delight, to the need for compassion, to the springs of refreshment that come when we are together, however that happens.
In this hour, from our separate places, we declare ourselves gathered, gathered at home and open, and know that we are beloved. Nancy Hershatter will light our chalice this morning and lead us in our words of affirmation.
Love is the spirit of this congregation, and justice is its light. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek and speak the truth in love, to help one another and celebrate life. And now turn up your volume so you can best hear Max do the children's affirmation for us.
Max has just invited us to sing together as a multi-generational community, This Little Light of Mine. Thank you, Max.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm
gonna let it shine.
this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I'm gonna let it shine, building up a world. I'm gonna let it shine, let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning to everyone. And I want to start off this morning, this first morning of our new congregational year together, thanking you for being gracious and patient with all of us as we try our best to come to you so that we can feel gathered together. We have experienced some technical difficulties over the weekend, but we said we are going to do the best we can because it is important for us to be together. So we appreciate not only your graciousness and patience, but I'm also so grateful for all of those who are working behind the scenes that you do not see, but they have been working since yesterday and even before that to make sure that we could be together on this homecoming Sunday. So thank you to all of you. What is sacred? I wonder if any children have heard that word before, sacred. It usually appears in a religious context, but any object like this singing bowl or chalice that's set aside for a particular purpose can be sacred because it means something special, something that's set apart, something worthy of our respect and awe. We have symbols as Unitarian Universalists and as the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Danbury that are special. We set them apart and we refer to them with great respect. They are sacred. Those symbols are reminders of who we are as a beloved community, who you are as the children of this community, who you are as the young adults, as the elders, as the leaders of this community. And each year, at our homecoming service, at our in-gathering, our opening Sunday, we look once again upon those sacred symbols and we celebrate them as we celebrate our coming together. So here, let us look at the sacred symbols of the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Danbury. Jenna, Michael, and Calvin Halls stand beside our rainbow flag right at the entrance to our campus, showing the wider community around us that we are a welcoming congregation, a symbol of our commitment to affirming the inherent worth and dignity of people who identify as a lesbian, as gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer, as well as their families and all those who love them. Jane Leff holds our Welcoming Our Neighbors sign right in our parking lot. And do you see what's on either side of her? Visitor parking, because we welcome our neighbors. That sign reads, no matter where you are from, we're glad you're our neighbor. This is a symbol of hospitality and compassion. Margaret Henderson, one of our co-presidents of the Board of Trustees, holds our congregational bylaws. This is a symbol of our governance and a symbol for our respect for the democratic process. Mateo, with his dad David and dog Ginger, are standing right in front of the cottage house where the office of our Director of Religious Education is housed. Mateo holds our Lego chalice, and this is a sacred symbol because it is a symbol of our creative religious education program for all of our children and our youth. Michelle Cousins, our other co-president of the Board of Trustees, She's also liaison to our membership ministry, and she holds our membership books representing all the members, past and present, of this faith community. And she also holds a rites of passage records book, a sacred symbol of all that is our life through births, marriages, and deaths. Sally Mandler holds the congregation's menorah, and she wears the Shalom tapestry. She is standing right in front of our cottage house, and you can see that cornerstone right there. These are the symbols of Judaism that serve us as a source of love and perseverance. Gail and Jackie Alexander, celebrating 33 years of marriage. They sit on our buddy bench right out in the yard, and they are holding a Bible. This is the symbol, a sacred symbol, of our rich Unitarian and Universalist histories. Together with the Jewish teachings, the Christian teachings, we are called to love our neighbors as ourselves. Suzanne Perry, right in our UUCD garden, and Suzanne is holding the Earth, Sun, Moon plaque, a sacred symbol for the earth-centered traditions that honor and celebrate the sacred circle of life, and they remind us to live in harmony with the rhythms of nature. Joe Gelati holds the humanist icon symbol right by one of our beautiful trees right aside this fellowship hall. He holds that symbol that serves as teachings that counsel us to heed the guidance of reason and the results of science. Anya and her mom Gina hold the Tibetan singing bowl that I strike each time I am here with you. This is a sacred symbol of the world's religions, whose wisdom inspires us in our ethical and spiritual lives. And here, on this beautiful stump, it seemed the perfect place to set our bottle of water that has been collected from previous homecoming Sundays. This is a symbol that shows our continuing work to be together, to come together as beloved community, and the interconnectedness of which we are all a part. You may not be coming in the door as I invite you this morning, but I invite you to come and be with us, to enter, to rejoice, to come in to this beloved community as we hold in our hearts these sacred symbols and we continue to work for justice and to create peace here and throughout our communities. When we consider these sacred symbols that we have gathered and have displayed this morning, we move into a time holding those in our hearts, into a time of shared milestones, because this too is something sacred that we do together each and every week. We bring our whole selves. So we bring those joys, we bring those sorrows, we bring the concerns that are on our hearts, and we share them in this community. So I invite you now to consider what you have brought here, and I want to encourage families with children. I want you to take a moment to ask your children what they have brought here, what's on their hearts this morning. What joys do they have that they want to share with this community? What sorrows, what concerns are they dealing with? For indeed, we are a multi-generational community. What a blessing that is. So let us all consider those milestones. Light a candle, another candle at home if you wish, or drop a stone into a small bowl of water. But let us share time together. You can type in the chat box the milestones that your children are holding, the milestones that you are holding, and let us spend time, and then we will go into a time of quiet together. Let us listen to this music and be inspired by our sacred symbols as we share our milestones. So let's have a moment of silence together. And I want to say not only to the children, but to all of the adults too, I know sometimes it's really hard to just be quiet. And we can't all always be still. So as I strike the singing bowl, I invite you, children and adults, to listen closely and see just how long you can hear the sound of the singing bowl. And that may help you to be more still and quiet and think of all of the things that were just shared in the chat box by the children and by the adults, all of the milestones. We'll take just a brief moment, listen to the sound of the singing bowl, and be in silence together, and then we will come out of that singing together, Spirit of Life. So listen for the singing bowl.
all the stirrings of compassion blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
For our time for all ages today, I am going to share with you one of my absolute all-time favorite videos. It's called Dancing Matt. And I'll tell you, this was a young man a long time ago, about 15 years ago. His name was Matt Harding, and he was from Westport, Connecticut. And he had a silly little dance that he did. His friends all said he danced badly, but I think it's kind of cute. He had a silly little dance. We all kind of have a silly little dance move in us. And he decided to take that dance move around the world. He decided to go to all the corners of the world and show people who may not speak the same language, who may think different politically, who may think different religiously, but show them his silly little dance and see if they would dance with him. And sometimes they showed him their dance and he would try to do that. But what's important about this is about being with people and learning from each other and teaching each other. I want the children to see just how many of the times he dances was there water. Was it raining? Were there waves? Were there puddles? Because that's what we do together here. We do our silly little dances together, learning from each other and teaching each other. And sometimes we dance in the rain together. And that's what I'm going to do with you in this new congregational year. I want to dance in the puddles with you. We're going to dance in puddles of tears. We're going to dance in puddles of pure joy. And sometimes we'll have to encourage each other to keep dancing when it just seems like there's too much rain. So think about that as you watch Dancing Matt, dancing all over the world, dancing in the puddles.
That way, okay? Hold it steady.
It is now time for our congregational offering. If you are with us for the first time, feel free to pass the virtual plate. Your presence here is a gift to us. Members, please express your generosity by clicking the link that is posted in the chat to make a donation or a pledge. Even though we are not in our sacred space on the ridge, we are creating our holy place together, and our operating expenses remain the same. You may also mail a check to UCD at 24 Clapboard Ridge Road in Danbury. Thank you for doing your part to sustain this community we love. Please join me in our congregational response. In the spirit of compassion and service, we dedicate these, our offerings.
We gather today and share our sacred symbols that hold meaning in this congregation. And in our homecoming service, we also gather the sacred waters of our journeys. Journeys over the past few months, journeys over the past year, journeys since we have gathered in person together. Journeys that will take us away and will bring us back. The symbolism of the gathering of sacred waters is that we all come from water. As a species on a planet where life began in the ocean, as beings whose cells are mostly water, we are separate and together. The way water scatters into rain and streams and clouds and springs and ponds and puddles, and yet flows together again and again, one great planetary ocean. Not only is no drop of water superior to any other drop, all water comes from the same place. And so today we celebrate the gathering of water from the four directions, whether that water comes from the geographical literal direction or a spiritual direction connected with the geographical direction. So listen to these directions and see where you feel your water comes from. The east is the direction of air. And we're going to hold off on our slides and showing until we get some more instruction on these directions. Thank you. East is the direction of air, new beginnings, and hope. East of here is Long Island Sound, the Atlantic Ocean, and the Connecticut River. South is the direction of fire, compassion, and inspiration. South of here is the Intercoastal Waterway, the Gulf of Mexico, and Lake Pontchartrain. West is the direction of water, of healing, of spiritual depth and intuition. And west of here is the Colorado River, Lake Michigan, and the Pacific Ocean. And north. North is the direction of earth, of mountains and groundedness and stillness. North of here, the St. Lawrence River, the Finger Islands, and Hudson Bay. So if you have a small amount of water ready with something slightly larger to pour it into, hold on. And if you don't have that, I'm going to give you just a quick moment to go to your faucet and grab some water and something to pour it into, or you can just imagine your water and the pouring into another vessel that will symbolize our collective gathering bowl. Consider where your water comes from. Which of the directions best describes your journey over the last few months or year? Consider your journey, consider your water, and then when I call the direction, pour your water, as you also delight in pictures of some of our members and friends at UUCD pouring their water. And another surprise delight, just a few of our members and friends will be pouring their water live, and you will see them. So let us gather our sacred waters. We call on the waters of the east, the waters of sunrise and new beginnings. We call on the waters that have nourished young plants. We call on waters of new life. We call on the waters of courage and inspiration that allow us to begin again. We call on waters of freshness and hope. Pour your sacred waters of the East. And for waters of the East, we will see some of our members and friends that have been here to UUCD over the past week, and they have poured water from the Atlantic Ocean. They have poured water even from the UUCD rain barrel, from Martha's Vineyard, from Newtown, from West Lake in Danbury. And this morning, we invite the Kirshner family to pour their water, their family with all of their children and maybe even a pet or two we might see. So let us see the Kirshner family as they pour their water. Okay, will you pour your water today? Okay. And they pour their water from the east. Thank you. And we also call on member Pat Colson to pour her water this morning, and Pat is pouring her water from her new home in Thailand. Pat, would you please pour your water from the east? Thank you. As we leave the east, let us call forth the waters of the south, the waters of growth and heat. We call on the precious and often sparse waters of summer and brown landscapes. We call on waters that calm the parched mouth and revive the burned spirits. We call on waters of power and passion that drive us forward, that help us to grow, that fill us with light and fill us with life and love. So pour your sacred waters of the South, and let us see our members. They come from Arizona. Our waters come from having a great year. Our waters come from appreciation and gratitude for moving forward. And our waters come from all that has sustained us throughout this time, being apart and throughout this time of summer. And this morning we invite Jenna and Calvin Halls to pour their water. And though it may not seem as though it was from the geographical direction of the South, they are pouring water today, and hopefully we'll be able to see them pouring. Michael is not able to be with us, he is working, but Jenna and Calvin will pour the water. And they pour it from the South because it is the direction of passion, the direction of being filled with light and life. And it was this summer that Jenna and Michael were able to spend time celebrating their anniversary and rekindling their passion and their love. The evidence sitting right there with a binky in his mouth. Thank you for pouring your water. And we move to call forth the waters of the West, waters of intuition and healing. We call on the waters of healing that quench our hearts and restore our souls, waters of the times of completion. We call on waters from the peaceful lakes and the deep pools. So pour your sacred waters of the West. We have waters that come from Cleveland and being with family. We have waters from the peaceful hikes and visits to surrounding nature. We have water that comes from Oregon, as well as from Cranberry Lake in the Adirondacks. And this morning we invite John Milieta to pour water. Water from a stream in the woods behind his home, where when he looks upon it from his office, he has brought great solace and peace. Thank you, John, for pouring your water. And finally, let us call forth the waters of the North, waters of peacefulness and the grace of the world. We call on the waters of the times of preparation, of patience. Bring waters of the night, of rest, waters of peace that comes without bidding. Pour your sacred waters of the North. Waters in this community that come from Lake Champlain. A lot of water that comes from Maine, from many journeys to the state of Maine, as well as journeys to Vermont. And even water that comes from aquifers that join neighbor to neighbor. And it almost seems as if we wouldn't be true Unitarian Universalists if we did not have some water from Star Island. Water from Star Island that brings peace, that brings patience, that brings people together. These are the waters of the directions the waters that we gather together today. But I invite Sierra Marie to continue gathering a water of a different source. Sierra Marie, would you lead us?
Let's bring our awareness to the water that is within each of us. I invite you to place a hand on your heart or in some way connect with your heart, which is one of the ways that water is circulated through our bodies. Your heart has a rhythm as it does its work. You can use your hand or feet or voice or even your imagination to remember this rhythm now. Bump, 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 bump. The heart's rhythm is very quiet to us usually, so we can make this sound softly too. Bump, 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 bump. Water is moving through us, nourishing us now. Bump, bump. The water within comes from the same ancient source of the waters we have gathered this morning. Its first source is the hydrogen from stars that died long ago. That hydrogen has traveled all directions of the earth, has been the water of lakes and rivers, oceans and streams. It has rained down on Earth's creatures, big and small, ancient and newly part of the planet's history. And it's within us now, this water, this legacy of ancient stars. Boom, 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 boom. So we draw our awareness to its presence and its life-giving, nourishing, sustaining power that is flowing through each of us. Boom, 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 boom. And then as we lower our hands from our hearts, we call upon this water too, the water inside each of us, and the energy that it carries for new beginnings, for passion, for healing, and for groundedness. May we always remember it is within us, and so may it be. And before we jump to the extinguishing of the chalice words, we're going to go back to Max's video and see if we can get it to play with sound this time.
Universalists, we're people with open minds, loving hearts, and helping hands. We care for the earth and each other. Now let's sing this little light of mine.
And now please join me in the words we use to extinguish our chalice. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts and out into the world until we are together again.
Let us sing together our closing hymn, Blue Boat Home.
Though below me I mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean. Still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now. Never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I ply the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the light of the heavens in our beautiful blue boat home. I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, greet the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathoms, never harbor or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home.
We are at the UUCD garden right now. And as I come into the garden, I have Deb Oria, part of our board of trustees. And Deb is now holding the gathering bowl. We have removed a small portion of the water that will be saved, as we save each and every year. But the rest of this water will go to feed our garden. So Deb will pour the water into the garden as I share with you these words. We take inspiration from our sacred symbols and water, tending our collective spirits as we tend our garden here at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Danbury. And may we each know that this is a home of compassion where justice and peace abide. Shalom. Salam. Amen. Blessed be to each and to all. Namaste.